If you've got Xbox Game Pass for PC, you could be doing this right now. Just roll with it and let me explain why Dicey Dungeons is a hidden gem you need to take a chance on. What's that, Balatro? Old news. Yes, it's inarguable that Poker Meets Pixel Art has made for one of 2024's best games, but the fact is the cool kids were getting their roguelike RNG fix in 2019's Dicey Dungeons way before Balatro hit the scene. And right now, you're going to get your first lesson in it. Ready? You roll a dice, and then you drag those dice into ability slots that let you deal damage to your opponents or buff yourself. And that's it. There's the beauty of Terry Kavanagh's take on the roguelike. All the information's laid out before you, and there are no insanely convoluted CCG rule sets to process. Just you, some dice, and a reality show about fate. Okay, now this bit's probably more complicated than the mechanics of the game itself, so bear with me. You've been turned into a six-sided die and forced to appear on a game show hosted by Lady Luck. Successfully navigate a sequence of dungeons for the entertainment of a pretty heartless crowd, and you'll win a chance for freedom and a return to your non-dicey physical form. Those are the basics then. Dice, RNG, and a light touch bit of deck building as you work your way through dungeons and buy or loot new ability cards that do new or ever more satisfying things with your dice rolls. It's a deceptively compelling formula, and it's time to examine it on a deeper level. When you lose all your health points in a fight, you die. And when you die, that's your run over. Back to the main menu with not a tier to shed for your cuboid mortal form. That means each new run is a fresh chance to spec your character slightly differently, picking up randomized loot along the way that keeps things interesting, even if you've done 100 runs previously. New ability cards can either be bought from shops or earned by beating the enemies who block your path to them on the dungeon map. And once acquired, you can upgrade existing ability cards wherever you see this anvil. You might choose to hedge your bets and be a generalist damage dealer. Boo, hiss, general derision. But the most fun here is leaning into being super specialized with your build. Upgrading one card that deals massive damage but has strict restrictions, and then acquiring support cards that make it easier to meet those restrictions. And this is where Balatro's going to get its second name drop, because building a decent deck here is a lot like the combination of jokers you acquire during a Balatro run. It's not just the individual properties of each card, but how they interact with each other, how they multiply and let you pull off complex sequences. Then you've got increasingly tough enemies to think about, each of whom have their own card sets and play styles, like cards that need multiple dice to add a total value before they're activated, or multiple cards activated by one die. How do you counter them? Do you brute force it and try and deal more damage than them before they can set up? Or do you play a defensive game, popping off constant buffs on yourself and debuffs to them at the expense of raw damage dealing? Whatever you decide, don't forget there's a TV audience of absolutely abhorrent viewers sitting back and watching this for cheap thrills, so try and make it spectacular, eh? The real reason this is such a hidden gem and remains so playable after 5 years is that every round, Dicey Dungeons gives you the opportunity to do something that makes you feel like chairman of the smart person society. Some 4D chess move that just makes you sit back and appreciate your own genius, even though it's not your genius you're witnessing, but the game designers. And in the years since release, the team's released several updates, including a Halloween special and a reunion show, all included in the Game Pass version, which means once you've cleared every episode in the base game, you get to take that big brain of yours to even trickier challenges.